24 of the game's most accomplished champions and emerging superstars joining together as the best of the best from the United States take on the top international players outside of Europe.
We just had Cameron Rose in from Bushnell, and he had great products and all the rest of it, but he's suggesting stuff that's about President's Cup, and of course the road to the President's Cup starts right here. And we're like, well, Matt Kamienski, anything happens in the President's Cup, someone sneezes, Matt is across it.
Cameron Rose,
I'm not quite sure if he's across this.
Cameron Rose from Bushnell has told us that Ricky Fowler is officially a captain's pick, and this hasn't come across your desk yet. Matt Kamienski, welcome, by the way.
Welcome, Matt. But
thanks, Mark. Thanks, Cam. Well, that's news to me. Obviously, Ricky might be a great pick, but it hasn't come across to me that's the case.
Well, the little magazine that he showed us before had Ricky Fowler on the front, so maybe you're the only bloke in the dark in the whole.
Maybe I am the only one in the dark.
You're supposed to be running this show, Matt.
Maybe it's time to get Cameron Rose in for the road to the President's Cup.
We should have kept him
on.
Maybe
he should be here all the time.
Hey, all right, now let's get serious about it because a fair bit's happening at the moment. We'll get to the international team in a second, but what has just happened last week is Bill Haas is now out of that top 10.
Top 10, yeah.
We know that Tiger Woods is a captain's pick. Fred Couples announced that 2 or 3 weeks ago just to stop the speculation and just get it out there, which is fantastic. That means if Ricky Fowler, so we're led to believe, is actually a captain's pick at all, that would make Bill Haas's father, Jay Haas, who's an assistant coach, that would be a little awkward for Jay, I would have thought, Matt.
I don't know if it would be. I mean, obviously, it all comes down to Fred's choice and him and it's whoever they feel is playing the best. So, yeah, I think that's kind of
well. When they have their little meeting, because I assume Cameron, and we might just leave Matt out here because
he doesn't really know what's happening anyway.
I don't know what's going on. We better get Cameron Rose in here.
Matt's actually in the dark, so I'll just talk to you for a second. But if Fred Couples goes to Jay Haas, like you would assume they would, is seeing him being an assistant to Fred Couples and said, okay, who are we going to pick? Well, my son's just dropped out. He's playing fantastic. I'm going to be there. What does Freddie do? Freddie goes, well, look, I'm sorry. I made up my mind at the start of the year that Ricky Fowler and Tiger's going to be in the team. So,
and this is the situation.
Sorry about that, Bill, but you're not playing.
We've spoken about that's risen now with Tiger Woods struggling a little bit and dropping so low. I think he's 37th in the standings or 38th. He's dropped so low. This is a situation that could have always come up because there are going to be very good golfers who might be on the cusp of automatic selection who don't get in because Tiger's pulling power.
Well, that's the joy of this. I mean, not the joy, but I mean, what it is you qualify in the top 10. Anybody outside of that is, their captain's pick. And that's why Fred and Greg both have captain's picks. They can pick anybody they want.
So Tommy Gainey, 2 gloves. Tommy 2 gloves. He finishes in the top 10. He's in.
He's in.
That's as simple as I love that system.
So everything that, when everybody, we get a lot of emails and a lot of things saying, they didn't deserve it. They didn't earn it. Well, they didn't earn it because, they didn't make it in the top 10. But as far as, it's whoever Greg or Fred wants to pick and whoever they feel is going to help them to win the President's Cup. And I think that's a great thing. And for the captains, it's a tough decision. It's something that they, probably labor over for a while and really sit down and try to analyze, what they think is going to work the best.
Have you noticed Cam and I with the big smiles on our face over here? Because we think that is a fantastic situation that someone who's 29 on the list gets picked and then someone's son whose father is actually assistant coach, assistant captain gets bundled out.
And I think with Jay,
Fowler's in.
Yeah, but I think with Jay, I mean, I think he would respect anything that Fred did because he's they're going to look at it as who they feel is going to help win the matches. So
righto, let's talk about the international team because it looks like the top 9 players are locked in now. They've only there's one tournament, the KLM, is it?
KLM over that's playing over in the European Tour this week.
Okay, so that one's Louis Oosthuizen, who's sitting number 10 at the moment. He plays in that one, but he's defending an awful lot of points. He played well there last time. I think he finished 6th. But Jason Day, Adam Scott, Charles Schwartzel, KJ Choi, KT Kim, Retief Goosen, Ernie Els, Wai Yang, and Yo Ishikawa, they are locked in.
Pretty much, yeah.
They pretty much can't move. The other good news is that Jeff Ogilvy, he was sitting 11th. The last tournament he gets to play will be the BMW, and no cut, Cameron. There is no cut. So he's got 4 rounds to actually play his best golf.
This is what we're excited, Marco.
So that would mean if Jeff Ogilvy slips in Louis Oosthuizen, the British Open champion from 2010, he'll be bumped out if he doesn't play well this week. And let's face it, he's been playing terrible for a while. He hasn't been playing like we saw him.
He's been struggling a bit
at the Open Championship. That would mean that the door comes swinging wide open for Greg Norman to go bang Robert Ellenby, who we know has been having barbecues at Greg's place for the last couple of months. So that would suggest to me that he's in the team. But Aaron Badley, a Victorian, sits out just out behind Robert Ellenby. So what we're looking at, Cam, is for 5 Australians to be on the team, 3 from Victoria, and then also 3 South Africans and some big names there with Ernie Els, who has we got there, Charles Schwartzel, the Masters champion, and Retief Goosen, plus Tim Clark as the assistant captain. It's looking like a very handy crowd-pulling type team.
And the good thing is, Matt, too, that if Jeff Ogilvy does get into automatic selection, that's another Australian in that doesn't have to be used on a captain's pick, which is such just a huge advantage for Greg Norman.
Absolutely, and I think all along we've always talked about they're going to pick the guys that they feel are going to help them make team. But I don't think Greg wants to leave anybody out. You know? So if they don't make that in, and he's only got 2 spots, and one guy's not in, that's a tough one. He's got those 3 guys.
It's interesting because Tim Clark, who actually sits 12th on the standings, has put up his hand and said, listen, I'm getting an operation. I'm not going to play, but I'm happy to be an assistant coach, so that's great. Next one down the track is Vijay Singh. Now, I've heard Greg Norman actually say that, Vijay's played a lot of golf in Australia, which he has. I mean, he played...
Absolutely.
I remember Vijay Singh. I played with Vijay Singh in 1991 when he qualified. We both qualified for the Coca-Cola Classic at Royal Melbourne.
91.
So he's played Royal Melbourne composite for a long, long time.
Well, he played in 1998. So name the only 2 guys in President's Cup history that have played in every President's Cup.
Oh, VJ, Ernie Els.
No.
VJ
and Phil Mickelson. So those are the 2 that have played in every single President's Cup and are likely to be, Phil's likely to be on, so he'll carry that over. But
Righto. So, look, it's a big decision. I reckon Greg Norman, he would actually almost be tossing a coin. I mean, if things go like we think they will, and if Oosthuizen plays to form and Jeff Ogilvy with no cut does half decent, those 2 spots will jump across because of all the points that Louis is defending at the KLM. Then really his only choice will be, because Ellenby we know is already having barbecues and sausages and things, so he's in the team. So Vijay Singh and Aaron Badley will be the choice between for Greg Norman to make.
Matt, Marco, either you boys can answer. There are always situations where players just miss out. You talk about the international team, you talk about the US team, and people know if they're in contention to be a captain's pick. In the AFL or the NRL here in Australia, if it comes to Premiership Day and you're on the cusp and you miss out, the coach normally sits you down or has a chat to you and says, mate, you were close, but we're going with this for whatever reason. Do Greg and Fred sit down with people who might just miss out and go through their reasons as to why they aren't making the trip to Royal Melbourne?
I guarantee that they'll call them. I mean, it's tough when they're living all over the United States to sit down and have the conversation face to face. But I know that I know that Greg did it in 2009 when Rory just missed out and why he came in. I mean, I know Greg calls those guys personally. He's in touch with all those guys. They're kind of in the top 20. Have the opportunity to make it. So I know that they would call and talk to him personally. Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know how. It must be a semi-relief to you, because I remember looking at the President's Cup standings probably about 12, 13 or 14 months ago. There were 2 Australians in it at that stage.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been a massive turnaround for these guys to really get into the team. I mean, Jason Day's come from the clouds, really.
Yep.
Adam Scott was floundering. I mean, he'd been playing terrible golf, and Jason and Adam have been firing.
I think Jeff would have been in the top 5. So
Jeff was our leader. Jeff and Robert were our leaders, and Aaron Badley. Now it's turned it upside down. I mean, guys like Jason Day and Adam Scott, who are well and truly out of the top 10, are now 1 and 2 on the list. So I mean, that's fantastic for golf in this country to actually see those guys fire and be in that team.
I remember doing the Clubhouse with you, Marco, before the Masters, and we were unsure as to what year Adam Scott was going to be able to put together. It's now, since the last 5 or 6 months, he's put together an unbelievable year, and there's no doubt that we were talking about him possibly having to be a captain's pick later in the year, and now he's an automatic selection by a long way.
I remember I spent some time with him at the Australian Open this year at the tennis, and his goals for the year were play well in the majors and make the President's Cup team. And I think he's achieved all of them.
No, he's done that. He's done that without doubt. And he's also back with Anna Ivanovic, which is another goal that I'm sure he's very, very proud of.
He had that goal at the beginning of the year.
If he's not proud of it, I am. Adam, if you're listening, I'm proud of you for getting back there.
In all seriousness, his best golf was played when he was with Anna. They went on a little bit of hiatus, and he struggled. She struggled.
It's all coming back together.
Now Adam Scott's been able to.
How's she playing? Is she playing better too? Or?
Who cares?
She got through.
No. She's playing okay. She lost she lost to Serena.
She got through a few rounds.
She lost in I think the third round of the US Open.
And
but
Adam,
good on Adam.
Adam got on the jet. He fueled the jet and just whizzed down just to say hello.
And Rory
was there.
Rory McIlroy is now with Caroline Wozniacki. So golf and tennis, it's a match made in heaven.
It is a match made in
heaven.
It is an absolute match made in heaven. Now I had one more little point that I wanted to make about Adams. Now here, I remember now. Excuse me. This is just setting up beautifully now. The way he's playing, absolutely beautifully for the singles on Sunday. Just to really top it off, Stevie Williams versus Tiger Woods. Forget Adam. Forget Anna. That's what it's going to be now. Now Adam's run himself into some form, and I don't think there'd be any hesitation the way he's playing at the moment if he keeps playing that way for Greg Norman to say, "Hey, listen, I want Adam Scott playing Tiger Woods." Is that, as the organizer, is that your dream? For those
I wouldn't say it's my dream. It would be a great thing, though. You know, obviously, who knows? You don't know. Maybe talk to Stephen Pitt. They might set that up the week before at the Australian Open.
Yeah.
You never know. That might happen early. So, obviously, I think, Greg and Fred, they sit down with their guys and say, who would you like to play? Who do you want to go head-to-head with? And they do that on Saturday night, and they do it on Sunday morning. They kind of figure it out.
That's
and then
the beauty of the President's Cup.
Yeah, and they put it out there. So, no, they can put that matchup together. Would it be great for the fans? I think the fans would love to see it.
Yeah, no doubt, Marco. We're very excited about the possibility of it happening, and I reckon it will happen at some point here in Australia, be it the week before or the President's Cup.
Now, before you go, would you like Cameron Rose's phone number from Bushnell?
Actually, can I get that? He has a lot of information. I want to see what's going on. So
on who's actually in these teams.
I mean, I want to work some stuff out, Marco. Ever since Matt tried to indulge in an Aussie rules career, as we know a couple of weeks ago when he wandered down to Templestowe.
I'm
losing my edge.
I'm losing it.
Well, the 4 quarters he spent down there getting in a fight with someone from Frankston.
You get a couple of knocks in the head that we don't know about, Matt.
That might be it. Mark Hayes brought some other pictures in. I didn't remember that hit. Anyway,
no doubt, regardless of who's coming, all roads lead here right now on the Clubhouse to the President's Cup.
History will be made at Royal Melbourne. Don't miss your chance to be a part of it.